journalists in our news.
Aquino.
The temperature thing.
Vile inafaa.
And it bothers me. No, thank you.
We found information.
One case, two more cases. One thing I think that was quite new is we fresh or had one case now, 22 new cases. That makes it 81 new cases. Tracy, why the reason why this is a big deal, especially now, if you look at the statistics of other countries, and if at some point we'll get into the details, you'll realize that when the numbers got to 60s, 70s, 80s, then the numbers started doubling. So I think this is something that we need to talk about seriously.
And speaking of these numbers jumping, a lot of Kenyans were really worried, and you could see people on the social media platforms and just conversations among people, and there were worries that now this is going to make the projections that were made by the DG, people were afraid that these projections could come true. And the government actually came out to say that, guys, these were the people who were actually quarantined, so there is little possibility that the general population is going to be witnessing more cases of COVID-19. Keith, what else did you pick up from this story?
From this story, yes, we did get that there are 22 new cases, and we are glad to learn that of these 22, majority of them were in quarantine. Only one was out in the general public. It's good to see our government being more proactive. It's promising to us. And as I said, the two new cases from other counties, let the public be very well informed that it's not that these people are picked up from home. No, they were already with the government. They were already within the government's hold. And that's good news for us. Also, on matters projection, yesterday on TV47 Spotlight with Babakar Abdullahi, we had Cyrus Oguna with us in studio, and he told us that the projections that have been given, the projected numbers, are not. It's not to scare Kenyans. It's for logistical purposes, for government and medics to know this is what our worst case. This is what we are anticipating, worst case scenario, and that is why we've been constantly having the curfew and other tighter measures, as Oguna aptly put it, on the table to ensure that it doesn't spread any further.
And I like how you mentioned that the government was being really proactive, and so proactive that, just to take these words out of your mouth, Keith, BBI haijaisha.
BBI.
Brenda Brian Initiative.
The Brenda Brian Initiative.
Before even we delve into this, we have a statement that Brenda, who was patient, is it patient 1 or patient 0?
Patient 0.
Patient 0.
Patient.
All right.
Patient X.
Let's see what Brenda had to say.
Okay, so to everyone listening to this, I first went to the US on December 19th. So I landed in Texas, and then when I finished my stay there, I took a flight from Cleveland in Ohio. Then I went to Chicago, and I had a 10-hour layover there where I had some interactions with certain people, and then from there I took a flight to London. So from London is when I think I may have contracted the virus in London or on the plane back to Nairobi. So after landing in the country, I had a cough 3 days into landing in the country. So when I suspected there might have been something, as a responsible Kenyan citizen and a patriotic Kenyan, I decided to watch the response of my body for 1 day. And then the next day, that is when I presented myself to Mbagathi Hospital, because I saw when I was in the US, I had seen something about Mbagathi Hospital having an isolation center. That's why I went to Mbagathi. So I think that was very useful, the information I saw, because at least it helped me know where to start. So Mbagathi, I would like to thank the staff that I met there, because they took me seriously and they gave me the mask. Immediately I mentioned that I had gone abroad and I was having a cough, and then they took it seriously. So I went into quarantine for the past 23 days. I have been in quarantine and I've been receiving proper treatment.
Maganga. Is 1 plus 1 2? How many 11?
I think 1 plus 1 is equals to 11, according to Brenda.
1 plus 1 is 19.
Because 1 plus 1 is equals to 11. Because according to what Brenda said, and according to the interviews she went yesterday after that particular bite, she was invited. She was invited in different media houses, you see. And from one media house, she said this. From another, she said this. Like she had different script on whatever happened on that particular day.
Because one is script at this point.
Different script, because you see, Tana, by the end of the day, because you see also by the end of the day, the internet never forgets. You see, the moment people realized who Ivy Brenda Cheriot is, they went ahead to
we are
Facebook page and Twitter, wakitaka kujua who's this Brenda. And on 2013, alikuwa ameupload a photo with her friends. In between, Brian was there. You understand? Yet yesterday when she was asked, she said she knew Brian. He knew Brian hiyo time walikutana pale isolation.
But you know Brian's are very sneaky generally. You know?
Tracy, the other thing she said, the other thing she wants to thank the nurses and the cleaners of Kenyatta National Hospital. Yet she was admitted in Mbagathi. You understand? The other thing alijicontradict, alisema she's a what? She's an electrical and electronic engineer. Yet she's a medical. As in, hapa kuna tu vitu. So ni atuambie 1 plus 1 equals to 2 or 1 plus 1, it's actually 11.
Keith, actually, even before we get to you, Corazon, it had to be a Brayo.
I know.
It had to be a Brayo.
At this point, by the way, I'm not even worried about what Ivy, now we know her other name, has to say. And I'm not even worried about Brian and if she's dating Brian or not. It is possible because she knows that the isolation center is at Mbagathi, and that was her initial story. And if at some point she said Kenyatta National Hospital, it is possible that within having one interview and another interview, and plus everything she has gone through, it was an isolation center and this was a new disease. It is possible not to have her story correct. So whether this was a model, a PR stunt, or this was really true, that aside, that's not even my problem right now. My problem is looking at what Ivy looks like, the levels of energies, and the fact that she doesn't look like she has been sick at all.
I know.
This is COVID-19. The videos that we've been seeing from other countries, the information we have from other countries, it's like it's a deadly disease.
And I'm actually curious, Corazon, does she have pictures or videos during this time when she was unwell? Because she actually had her phone the whole time.
And we actually are in containment as a country because we do not want to contract this deadly disease. At this point, if she looks the way she looks and she says that she's been treated and everything is all right, I'm afraid that there are people who are going to get out there and take this like a very small issue.
And trivialize the matter that is COVID-19,
That is the only problem. Whether she's dating Brian or not, I mean, that's a non-issue. We don't care. Who cares? I mean,
Keith cares.
No.
Why is it even an issue?
Because I don't consider it an issue who is dating who. Mine is just realize, dear government of Kenya, have you realized that we are the FBI? We are trained at digital tracing. Here I am learning that she's called Ivy Brenda. Who? Cheriot. Yes. You only know her out as Brenda. No? So I think next time government wants to play a PR stunt with Kenyans, please use papers. Use things that we cannot follow
and
up on.
I have actually seen this trending on social media.
She has
and everybody is saying
now,
the PSU, the former PSU unit was actually very good at.
Tracy, if you want to realize that we are seeing a loophole in all of this, whenever in the history of the world has a president had any activity that was not mentioned publicly? No. Because I was in the newsroom the whole day yesterday, and here we were saying that the president had a teleconference. It was never televised. No media was in.
Actually, Keith, it was televised.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Who was briefed about it beforehand? Corazon, you and I know the protocols of when the president is going on air in any capacity. Even on New Year's Day.
That doesn't nullify if she was sick or not. I mean, maybe it was just an impromptu decision.
No, it tells us that there was a lot that went behind the scenes.
The reason why I will tend to differ with Corazon is this. The thing is this. The lady said she was quarantined for 23 days. The first case, when Mutai announced the day he confirmed the first case of coronavirus was on 12 was it 12th or 13th?
13th.
And yesterday, on 31st, was the day Brenda was confirmed that she had recovered from corona. Ni mimi sijui hesabu.
I think I'm going to wrap this conversation at the fact that
Tracy, one final thing before you wrap it up. The difference between the day she said and the day that was mentioned by the CS is only 5 days. It is possible that before the day that, within the 5 days, there was testing happening and other things.
Tracy, wait, let me respond to Corazon. Corazon, listen and listen carefully. The lady said, alikuwa ameenda quarantine before. Fine. Kama Tracy, kama Corazon, you okay with that? It's fine. But what is not adding up? She said she's 26 years old. Sia said at 27 years old. Alafu, this lady said that she knew her status. She knew she was COVID. She had confirmed when the CS said at 27-year-old. Yes, she's 26. How did even she?
I think
she knew through the media. How?
On Pledge Watch, and if you missed the episode, this week's episode, you can catch it on our YouTube and social media platforms. We actually hosted a communications consultant just to try to explain to us some of these loopholes that we are witnessing in the statements that are being issued by government and the protocols. And because at the end of the day, we need to understand that this is not a kibandasti, this is not a kiosk, and this is not information that, can very easily be relied to citizens out here. I think you should go and watch the episode online and tell us if you actually agree on with the communication expert and some of the explanations as to why there are loopholes in the government statements sometimes. Moving on, still matters COVID-19. Yesterday, there is actually a Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You guys knew?
Yeah.
I actually...
We know it. We have to know where... Excuse me?
Sure.
Excuse me?
I think it's important to note that the 5th is 3 days away. That is when the deadline for most people.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
even
to pay. Have you paid rent, Magash?
Not yet. Yes,
and
deadline.
Yeah, and so this association was actually asking landlords to be able to consider waivers in rent for at least 3 months for people to be able to recover. And this statement by this association really took me back. Like, these are people's personal, individual resources. Tunataka landlords wakule wapi? Cora?
I think this is a good thing, and this is a great moment indeed in history. It's a moment that we are realizing that we need to unite and come together. And what LATAC brought out is they're ready to work together with the government, because they said this cannot be left entirely for the government. They're willing to waiver the rent 50% or even 100% as long as the government will give them, they called it, they had a moratorium for 6 months with the servicing bank loans. So the government will hold on the bank loans that they have. They don't service it for 6 months, so they can also waiver the rent for tenants and for Kenyans. I think this is a good move, because the only way we can actually beat this and find some balance of some sort is when the private sector is going to work with the government.
I'm actually really struggling to understand where you're coming from.
Right.
And I'd like Keith to just try and, I don't know on which side you're leaning, but isn't this now actual disruption of business? Because now when these landlords tell the government, just hold off our loans for this period of time, now you cripple the banking industry. Are these the kind of solutions we are looking for?
Well, looking back from as far back as when the CBK governor released part of
It's to 1,245.
I don't know why we are shocked. The country is called Thailand.
and the capital is...
They are king to love Thailand.
I know. But Thailand is beautiful. Thailand is beautiful.
Keith had something to say about where that is. But anyway, it's King Maha, 67 years old, and all those women. I am proud of the fourth one. Apparently, we are not sure if the fourth one is there. So apparently, has she left? The
fourth wife?
The fourth wife. People are not sure if she went with along. If she didn't go, I am proud of you, woman, wherever you
Why?
are.
Not only, see, after the fourth wife, even the first till the fourth, no one knew. ama hakuna mtu anajua alikuwa pamoja with the 20
concubines.
Okay, I still have a question before Keith picks this and Maganga. Two questions actually. One question, why does Thailand need a king that's that extravagant with the economy of Thailand?
Money and power. Corazon, money and power.
But why do they need a king in the first place? Why can't they just give more powers? Because apparently he's the head of state and then they have a prime minister who's the head of government.
But question two.
Question two is, why does one man who is 67 years old need all those women for what?
Money.
Okay, as the only man on the team.
Tell us, why do you need 20 concubines? But then you know, in quarantine, you yourself.
Dear Eliud Kipchoge, did you not tell them last year? 159, no what?
No human is limited.
Thank you very much.
Human is limited in terms of women.
No, exactly. We didn't specify. We did not specify.
Keith, is this how you want to be quarantined? Because very soon we are going to quarantine you.
No. I just put it out there. Friendly, free and fair. No human is limited. He is king, he is allowed. Secondly, dear Corazon, you're asking why
do they need a king?
Why they need a king, so much power, so much wealth.
Yeah.
Which country do you live in again?
Kenya.
Well, who is your president and deputy?
But at least I know the definite role. I know the definite roles of my president. He's more the head of government and head of state, right?
And what are you planning with BBI?
Thai people have a head of government, so this is more like ceremonies.
Yes.
And but they keep any man who has more than 4 wives is making the other women slaves. He doesn't need them.
So you are okay with up to 4? Corazon?
No, Corazon not today.
No, but guys,
That hit me by surprise. I didn't see that one coming.
Here's what I'm wondering. Why are we so... Is it the title that bothers us? Is it the extremities that bother us? Because world over,
It's actually the extremity.
All our leaders are that extreme.
Not
humans,
really. At least not in the public eye, Keith.
Yes, because the Queen of England is a very down-to-earth lady.
They have the resources. They can afford it.
Okay, fine.
Can Thai people afford to sustain 20 concubines?
In fact,
because he moved
in a luxury hotel. It was in a luxury hotel.
The former South African president. Yeah. Swaziland. Yeah. Come on.
I think it's stupid. I think
this is a pot-kettle situation. I feel this is a very pot-kettle
no man is
situation.
making those women slaves, servants, and very extravagantly. Thai people deserve better.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Cora.
20. Salute.
So,
Gentlemen, let us...
I don't think he's even. I don't think they're
that we
happy.
look for 20 concubines for Keith because
No.
Okay.
There is somebody watching and I do not want... Did I mention who? Happy people.
All right, guys. Let's move on to. I think no matter how much we try to run away from this COVID-19 nightmare, we just find ourselves back into it. And I'd like us to look at the effects of COVID-19 on the education systems across the world. Last week, we witnessed university students from the University of Nairobi just trying to boycott lectures and trying to wamekata.
Wamekata, yes.
Yeah.
But you see, wamekata lectures, yes. But you see, the government also wameona kutakuwa na a loss. So that's why the other day they said they want to introduce e-learning.
Yeah.
You see, so instead of them staying idle at home, they can do something.
And with e-learning, the government
has
actually come out to say the Ministry of Education has actually come out to pinpoint some of the effects that this disease is going to have on the academic calendar. And just looking at, we are actually in April. This is when schools should be closing and exams should be done, and it should be interesting to look at some of the other effects it is going to have on the education sector, because at the end of the day, the power of a country, of a generation, is being able to equip the younger ones with skills and knowledge. And I'm actually perturbed that the Corazon in Kenya universities placements services, KUCCPS, yes. That's the board.
Right.
And university students, prospective universities and colleges students were being asked to revise their courses just to be able to get themselves placements in Kenyan universities. And I'm wondering, it's still business as usual. To what universities are these people being told they are going to be absorbed into?
Right. I know I'm actually laughing because we tried finding that the name just before and it just gets lost. But again, the conversation was the intention was to properly align the courses that are taken at the university level. Tracy, there are two issues with this. The first issue is it's a time, and it's quite unfortunate that we are facing this pandemic before we revised the courses at the university level and had experts who can actually deal with such a situation. We had Mheshimiwa Mutua asking why we don't have our scientists and researchers in the labs, why we are waiting for people from other countries to find the solution. It is very necessary to properly align the courses that are undertaken at the university. Second, well, this might definitely affect the school calendar and all the other activities that were supposed to be done in the education center, but it is for the good. We are under survival mode. When you are in survival mode, you go back to the basic needs, and that is food, that is shelter, that is clothes. Well, and there's a fourth one that was taught in psychology.
You've mentioned a very interesting point. I'm really curious why and how the resources that some of these public institutions are using to just go about their businesses, why can these resources be channeled towards the COVID-19 response, emergency response funds, just to be able to cushion the country? Because looking at some of the measures, I think we are in desperate times and desperate measures have been taken, and the government has said through the controller of budget that they will not be paying out people who are owed by the government. So I am feeling very perturbed that the only things that the government will be paying for is their recurrent expenditure, that is salaries and small other items here.
The grass will grow has always been a revision of I'm idealist, but no, we are a hopeful species, because being able to think of to this, people will go to university, even if it's Olympics.
Yeah. Actually ensuring kizungu inaendanga break. Inaendanga break, inaenda break.
Actually on that, to embrace postmodern education.
Yeah.
Because